The system is the system. But before arguing further, and I forget, you should take the investment money. I can arrange it. And Hank said no immediately. Profit should be a really good deal for everyone. Top-down fortune management is accurate, but gibberish that our economy suffers when the dominant stumble. That's not a complete economy, but everything is in place. We're solving gaps, moving forward. Charity feeds the masses. Let's go, Mr. Trainer. My company's name means I'm in this for the weakest, and I faintly hear the baby hammer's cry in my ears. He already has his share. Now, this was an opening. I said, Hank, it's illogical to change welfare's flaws. Your explanation won't float with the American public. Everyone knows welfare failed, and especially you agree incentive is the simple answer. Hank pounced. Right. Since the ideology harped on it for years, how couldn't it be true that when given things, the poor lose sight of incentive? But capitalism shouldn't just be about deserving the pursuit of happiness. Money will never inflate enough to solve a crisis. So I complain about circulation. Nitpicking, while welfare, reform, and progress your ideology denies slowing for decades, is now your idea. The whitewashing of American history. Isn't that what those dreaded communists did? Blame an economic class? Disgusting how the poor, selfish welfare enterprise mimicked the abuses of the rich. How dare they? Hammering away, there was no room except for him. Hank said, but generations are like snakeskin. Layers peel away, replaced by fresher slogans, denying responsibility for the past. Contradictory evidence is erased from different historical points of view. Society forgets. Hey, I love William F. Buckley Jr.'s conservative stand that evolved our rocking horse political process forward, but I'm disappointed he loves his popularity so much that he barely renounces his team's more clearly identified prejudices. Those generations that Republicans made sure only the absolute poor qualified for welfare. Part-time piecemeal labor made citizens ineligible. The working poor, blaming the losers and crediting themselves with pragmatism, to me, is just excuses for the free market not being entirely free. But then no one's asking me. I said, until you can explain, till then, I suggest you build a business. Forget about the bottom rising. Hank laughed, throwing up his arms. I must be wrong that we overshot utopia. We're not just too imperfect. There must be something completely better. I must plead when I pray and never say thank you. Mr. Trainer, I can't ignore this is paradise if inflation's whip weren't so lacerating. Dispute this. The key is welfare wasn't wasted as long as money circulates. The welfare dime couldn't have been wasted as long as money moves. Money has a much broader life than as an individual sum. Except basically, welfare money flows up, streaming back from consumer purchases and damnable addictions to eventually sit satisfyingly engorged by the corporate economy, sitting, compounding as enormous cash reserves, claiming to trail inflation to survive. I can't argue inflation isn't an incentive for growth, but come on, Mr. Trainer? Recirculation trickling horizontally doesn't complete the economic cycle. Standing back from where I am, everyone is bitter when it comes to economics. Charity, what is it good for? Absolutely everything. Oh well, I thought as we grabbed the bikes. Now, how would he round out the bottom line? But then we were stopped in our tracks, listening to someone for so relatively long before we actually saw him turn the corner. A too skinny man-child appeared, barely able to balance his bouncing head on his withered youth. sniffling and beat to each and every nervous step he took. He didn't care we were there and asked if we were waiting for the man. But Hank's tone was instantly argumentative. Does it look like we are? Apparently he only claimed to tolerate and pity everyone. The poor addict shuffled his shoulders and of course sniffled before saying, "No, but habits begin somewhere and end." "Everything ends," the victim of self-destruction said. "So," Hank told him, "your damn pusher man left calmly in no hurry to find you. Why pick on me? Because you're avoiding picking on yourself. Why let what you enjoyed once destroy you now? There's nothing left to see, find, or feel in that experience. You're proving the government right, trying to protect you from yourself." The addict said, "Ah, yeah, right. I have to agree. But right now he's not coming back till you leave. Aren't you going?" The poor soul had no way of knowing that was like asking a rabbi, mullah, priest, minister, or guru for a moment of their time. I felt sorry for the kid, his bugged eyes receding shinelessly from within twin dark caverns, shooting out for a resolution to his body's troubled state of chemical despair. Hank poked at the boy's mind. "Explain why you give up." "I felt this anguish before. My friend Richie killing himself made your mistake, accepting the pain. But think how everyone perseveres through disappointment, practically becoming someone else if we have to survive. Survival is a privilege. Take care of yourself." Then to not stare, Hank spoke, looking at his bike. "But the creative escape must come from you. Your deadened dependency is your poor substitute for feeling. You gave up on who you didn't become. And now this escape no longer brings happiness. It's the means by which you're miserable most of the time. Except for that momentary rush of comfort when the drug first enters your veins. You're not bothering enjoying feeling anything anymore, just maintaining an awkward nothingness." Then the man Hank previously advocated lenience toward returned and jumped in himself, near enough to Hank for concern. He yelled in a whisper, "Hey, what are you telling him?" "Telling?" Hank asked, and drooped his head like the addict's, yielding deference to an adversary. "You tell people who can listen. He only hears the call of malignant comfort. You're probably not just greedy, because there are better and easier ways to make money. But your adequately funded, stabilized habit means you don't take this ride together. Life is dragged down by not really caring about each other. This isn't a solid business relationship." The pusher laughed, but answered seriously. "I told him to get methadone treatment last week." The addict's eyes were glued to the pusher, as if they were by themselves. He said, "Because I begged and begged. I had no money." Calm, the man said, "I have to support myself. You'll go elsewhere when I can't provide." "I have money." "I know. Let's walk." Then the man actually reached out to escort his frail, crippled companion while aiming a portion of his grin at Hank. We rolled the other way, then Hank began. I knew better than to agitate people processed into desperate criminals. But frustration with the whole mess just hit me. I'd smelled questionable buildings burning and latrines in the fiercest summer heat, but nothing overwhelms and punishes like the rancid aroma of decay from within, when chemicals that can't function nutritionally depart destructively foul from the pores.